Hi everyone, Dr. Sunil Dhand. Welcome to the next video. I want to share with you a very important message in this video, one that I'm sure most of you are already aware of. The importance of speaking up, why everybody must speak up when it is time to do so. Why you must speak up whenever you see an injustice in the world. Staying silent is never acceptable. Now, a few years ago, I read this book here, Tony Blair, A Journey. And it is a fascinating account. It's an autobiography, which was written a while back. I remember reading it and thinking it was interesting. And whether you like Tony Blair or dislike Tony Blair, obviously he's a very divisive character, the book itself is a fascinating insight because he was Prime Minister during a very tumultuous time. And I remember reading a certain passage in the book a while back, and I happened to pick the book up off my shelf recently, and I opened a few pages and I read it again, and I want to share it with you here. The importance of speaking up and not staying silent. So Tony Blair wrote this. On Saturday afternoon, we went to see Schindler's List, the Steven Spielberg movie about the man who rescued Jews from the Nazi concentration camps, saving thousands of lives. In later life, when I had got to know Spielberg, I told him how the movie had affected me, more than any I had ever seen. Stephen, being actually a rather modest person, probably thought I was exaggerating, in that way theatrical people do, but I wasn't. I was spellbound, throughout the whole 3¼ hours. We sat through it, missed our dinner, and talked about it long into the night. There was a scene in it I kept coming back to. The commandant, played by Ralph Fiennes, is in his bedroom arguing with his girlfriend. He gets up to urinate. They're still arguing and she is mocking him, just like any girlfriend might do. While in the bathroom, he spies an inmate of the camp. He takes up his rifle and shoots him. They carry on their argument. It's her I think of. She didn't shoot anyone. She was a bystander. Except she wasn't. There were no bystanders in that situation. You participate, like it or not. You take sides by inaction, as much as by action. Why were the Nazis able to do these things? Because of people like him? No, because of people like her. She was in the next room. She was proximate. The responsibility seems therefore more proximate too. I think that is an excellent thing to say. And again, Tony Blair, whether you like him or dislike him, this book is really interesting. And I'm glad that I read that passage again, now years later. And it really highlights the importance of speaking up and how silence is unacceptable. Haven't we seen this over the last few years, for example? There's always an excuse for people being silent, but actually it is these silent people, the people who do nothing, that are just as responsible. Let's think about the last century, some of the biggest criminals of the last century. Whether we're talking about Hitler, Stalin, or Mao, where millions and millions of people died. As far as I'm aware, those individuals, those criminal leaders of countries, I'm not sure that they actually killed anyone themselves, or if they did, it was probably very few people. Who did the mass killing? Where were the millions of people killed? They were killed by quote-unquote ordinary people who were simply doing their job, who were following orders. And really, just as responsible are the people who turned a blind eye. I'd like everybody to reflect on that. We all know the famous saying, that famous quote, all it takes for evil to flourish is for good people to do nothing. That is very true. People will always find excuses for their silence, for not doing anything. There'll always be an excuse. But actually, it is those people who stay silent, who do nothing, that are just as responsible. That is the message of this video. Silence is unacceptable. When it's time to speak up, when people see that injustice or something ridiculous happening, they must speak up. Each one of us has that duty to always speak up.